If you're not a prophet, you're not going to understand. Or if you're not a prophet, you won't understand. If you're not a prophet. Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rucha Kudash. Welcome to the live lesson. You just heard the name of this one. If you're not a prophet, you won't understand. And pretty much this is based off of a video I was watching. Elder Pastor is doing right now. He's still premiering. I watched about an hour, a little more than an hour, and there was something that this demon right here, Vocab, said that I want to address in this topic in this lesson. But they were going back and forth with the Cain issue and how could Cain be Esau and the reincarnation, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Well, if you're not a prophet, you're not going to understand. Now, I'm going to just hit a couple of precepts and we're going to come back to this. I'm going to play it at this point here. But when we go to Deuteronomy, right? Deuteronomy, the 29th chapter and the 29th verse, it says, the secret things belong unto the Lord our power, but those things which are revealed before belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. And this is dealing with the children of Israel. But the things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever. Now you have to be not only an Israelite, but you also have to be a part of the elect, and you have to be a prophet, to be able to understand this. Deuteronomy 1 and what verse was that? I know it's in the first chapter. These are the words you should write unto the children of Israel. We used to bring this out years ago. Let me see something. Okay, the first verse, 1 and 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophet, and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizahab. Let's see. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go from there to the book of Amos, chapter 3, and verse 7. Says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth the secret unto his servants, the prophets. And the secrets are what? The mysteries of these scriptures, because these scriptures are written in parabolic form. That's why for a long time they were, they were sealed. And then when Yahushua came on the scene, he unsealed them. But then they were pretty much sealed again, for a period of time until the Lord revealed it again in these times now. We've told you the story and the history of how One West got started. It says, verse 8, the lion hath roared, who will not fear? The Lord power hath spoken, who can but prophesy? Okay, so if you're not a prophet, you're not going to get it. If you're not a part of the elect, you're not going to get it. And definitely if you're not an Israelite, you're definitely not going to get it. Let's go to Psalm, especially if you're an Edomite. Matter of fact, let me get this other one real quick that just came to mind. And then we'll go back to that. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, many shall be purified and made white. This is dealing with, and tried. This is dealing with the elect of the nation of Israel. But the wicked, which are the Edomites, shall do wickedly. And you could throw Israelites in there too that are wicked. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So Esau is not going to understand because they were programmed not to understand. Just like Jake, certain Jakes were programmed not to hear the word. Or you have Edomites that will not hear the word because they are not programmed that way. They were created to be the wicked. And that's another thing I want to address because that's something that demon Vocab said. which we're going to get. Psalms 58 and 1. Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do you judge upright, O ye sons of men? This is directed to you Edomites, you nations. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. This is directed specifically to you Edomites. The wicked, which are who? The Edomites. You could go to Malachi, the first chapter, to prove that who the wicked are. They're the Edomites. The wicked are estranged from the womb. So before you're even born, you're a whole demon. It says they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And that's their greatest gift. Lies, deception, thievery, robbery, so on and so forth. It says their poison is like the poison of a serpent. This is the main point here. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. So you're not going to hear, even if somebody breaks it down properly, you have the prophets out here breaking it down to you properly, you're still not going to get it. Which will not hearken to the voice of charmers. Who are the charmers? The prophets. Charming never so wisely. See? So you're not going to listen even if it's broken down to you the right way, the proper way. You know, and no matter how prolific you break it down, they're not going to get it because they are the wicked. They're not going to understand. These scriptures were only given to the Israelites. It wasn't given to the other nations. Now, when we go to the book of Daniel, chapter 2, and verse, let's jump down to the 20th verse, and then we're going to skip around, probably skip around a little bit. Daniel chapter 2, verse 20, it says, Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, forever and ever. Somebody's in trouble. For wisdom and might are his, and he changes the times and the seasons. He makes everything run properly. He removeth kings, all right, and we're at the ending of the king of Edom, which is about to be removed, and setteth up kings. So he takes one down, sets up another. He takes many down, sets up another. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. So the Lord is the one that reveals these mysteries and these secrets. So if you don't get it, then that means that you're not a part of the elect. You know, and if you're of another nation, you definitely not going to get it. Okay. And that's why they can't, that's why to them it sounds so preposterous. You know, it sounds so out of this world because they don't have the spiritual ears or the spiritual eyes to see. Spiritual ears are here, the spiritual eyes to see. That's why Yahweh said many times, he said, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. What did that mean? That didn't mean having, ears upside your head. It meant, being able to perceive and understand with the ear of your mind. Okay? Your third eye being open, that eye salve being in there, and you being able to see through the veil of darkness and be able to see the truth. St. John 3:27, John answered and said, a man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven. So these mysteries that are being revealed by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which reveals the deep and secret things. All right. And it's not revealed to anyone except for the prophets. We read in Amos that surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealed the secrets unto his servants, the prophets. Daniel 2:27, we jump into the 27th verse. It says, Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king had demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a power in heaven that revealeth secrets. See? And maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days, because the heathens couldn't break it down to him. Daniel was a prophet, great prophet, is a prophet. He may be alive today or he may be in the spirit world, And the Lord revealed this, the dream to Nebuchadnezzar, not only the interpretation of the dream, but what the dream actually was, because the king forgot what the dream was. And that's what he was demanding of his wise men. Otherwise, he would have put him to death. So the Spirit revealed because the Most High is the one that gave Nebuchadnezzar that dream. So the Most High is the one that gave the same dream or vision to Daniel to be able to show the dream to Nebuchadnezzar and then break it down. These were secrets, all right, prophecies, mysteries that are only revealed to the elect and are revealed first and foremost to the prophets. And maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days, thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. And he breaks it down. And that's, well, you know what? I'll read another one. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, that what should come to pass hereafter. So he was wondering what was going to happen in the future. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. Then it says, but as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Yeah, because it was sent for all the wise men in Babylon to be put to death, because no one could break his dream down. Not just couldn't break the dream down, they couldn't, recall the dream of Nebuchadnezzar or Nebuchadnezzar. All right, now I was going to go to this other precept. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go to it. Because there is a wicked person or wicked people walking on the planet today. And these wicked people have been revealed in these times. Okay? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, I'm going to just jump straight to the point 5. Remember ye not that when I was with you, or yet with you, I told you these things. So the Apostle Paul kept expressing this back then about who the wicked is. And the wicked were working at that time, but they were under the name of the Romans. Now you had Edomites back then that knew that they were Edomites, and the Apostle Paul knew that the Edomites were the wicked. He also knew that the Romans were the wicked. All right. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. So you know why certain things were held back, that he might be revealed what? In his time, because it wasn't time to fully reveal who the wicked were back then. We're at that point now. And when you read up above this, it tells you that they've set themselves up as being the Most High, being praised and worshiped, and bowed down to as if they were the Most High, so on and so forth. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. So the Romans, which were in power, which were Edomites, they were already in the midst. They were already working. It says, only he who letteth will let. And who is it he who letteth? The Most High. So he's going to let them rule and do what they do until he be taken out of the way. Why? Because you had a set point of time for these devils to rule. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So they had a certain set time where they were going to rule. And then after that set time, then the Lord would take them down. And then, meaning what? After they, when it's time for them to be taken down, that's why one of the things that we do is what? The scriptures say that when it's time for the Lord to deliver us, we're going to take up a parable against the king of Babylon and say, how has the golden city ceased? The Lord has broken the scepter of the wicked. The worm is spread under thee. So we're letting them know that they're going down, because that's the job of the prophets. Anytime a major society or major empire was about to go down, you had the prophets out there in the forefronts telling that kingdom that they were going to be brought down, and in the manner that they were going to be brought down. And each empire in succession was taken down by the next empire. This time, you have the major empire, which is Esau, the Edomites, which is the 7 heads and 10 horns. That's going to be brought down by Yahushai. And all of those other nations that are ruling, they're going to be brought down also and be in subjection under Yahushai and under us. Okay? It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is who? The prophets. And the word reveal, re is back, and veiled is where you get the word veil, or to peel back the veil. So the curtain is being peeled back on who the wicked is. Because the scriptures tell us in Job chapter 9 and verse 24, and if you notice, Vocab, he didn't learn how to debate in those cemeteries that he went to. You know, he just learned curriculum. He just learned theological terms. He learned his debating skills from, dealing and messing with the Israelites, and also from these Jake Christians. He learned how to debate by watching the Israelites, messing with the Israelites, debating with the Israelites, stealing styles from the Israelites, and also he's learning how to debate from some of these Jake Christians out there, because he got no salt. He's a unsalted top, cracker. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So who's in control of the planet? The Edomites, so-called white men, who are what? The wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. How do they do that? With their face. That's what the scriptures speak about, the names of blasphemy. They blaspheme the Most High, Yahushua, the angel, so on and so forth. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If Esau is not the devil, if he's not the one that did this, if he didn't commit iconoclasm, which is the defacing of the images during the time of the Renaissance, which is the rebirth. If not, where and who is he? Who did it? Did the so-called Chinese do it? Did the so-called Japanese do it? Did the so-called Africans do it? Did the East Indians, the Arabs, who did it? Who has their face plastered all over the world as being the Heavenly Father and the Son and the Israelites and the angels? Think about it. Let me just check something real quick to lock you. Okay, so now, matter of fact, let's finish this up. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. And once they get the judgment, or should I say, once they get their sentence, being told that they're going to be destroyed and brought up all the charges that's brought up upon them, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, which is what? The destruction of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, when he destroys this place by nuclear missiles and by the lasers from the chariots. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. So it's these devils that are working, they're doing the adversary's job, the adversary's work. They are the devil. They are the sons and daughters of the devil. Matter of fact, when we go to Matthew, we're going to come back to that so I can get to the next part. Matthew 13 and 38. It says, the field is the world. So this. I'm going to read 37. This is Yahushua breaking down what the parable of the sower seed is. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth seed, the good seed, is the Son of Man. Oh, I'm sure that's Salakia, the parable of the wheat and the tares, Salakia. He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man, which is Yahushua. The field is the world, the entire planet. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, which are the Israelites, but the tares are the children of the wicked one, which are these Edomites. And you have Edomites that look like Jake because they got with, Jake women and laid down with them and had children with them. Those are what the scriptures call tares. So going back to 2 Thessalonians 2:10, 2:9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And that's what these devils have done. That's why they got the whole world, deceived, because that's one of his greatest gifts, besides the sword, deception. Because what was the very first thing that the serpent did, or the devil did, which are the Edomites, when they first were let out of that prison sentence of that 1,000 years? They went around to the four corners of the earth to deceive the whole world. And how did they do that? By putting up their face, first and foremost, as the face of the Heavenly Father, of his Son, the angels, the Israelites, and then brought about his form of so-called Christianity, which is, that plantation/Renaissance Christianity, or vice versa. All right. And that's that, control your slaves type of Christianity. It's a doctrine or a dogma that was used to control the slaves, built, upon many things. And one of the things that they built it upon too was the Willie Lynch letter, the bringing, the bringing this, pretty much bringing the slaves against each other. So you could understand, so it's all about deception. And it says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So the ones that don't receive this, they're not going to receive it because they've been deceived first and foremost. If our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world have blinded the mind of them which believe not. It says, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. All right. So now let's get to the video, and we're going to play part of it. Let me know if you can hear it. I hooked everything up. Let me know if you can hear it, and then we're going to deal with what Vocab said in this madness here. This he's a whole demon.
Of Ishmael and Esau, and what he's showing is that ethnic descent does not guarantee covenant relationship.
Now he's saying that ethnic descent does not, dictate, for so many words, covenant, being in the covenant. And he's right, as Elder Pastor broke it down. He's right, because not all Israel are Israel, and that's what he's going into, right? But there's another part of this that I want to touch on, Lord's will.
It's God's promise that guarantees covenant relationship.
Who was the promise given to? Matter of fact, let me do this.
Your brothers here?
It was analyzing. We already know the scriptures. Let's see how they're going to word this. Let me see. Let me think about this. God's promise to Abraham.
You brothers hear it? I haven't seen anybody reply. Okay, cool. The water, bro. The water.
Excuse me. Let's see what it says. In Genesis 12:1-3, God promised Abraham that he would multiply his descendants as the stars in heaven with God. Yet, Abraham's descendants, the family of the earth, let's see what else I can find. Okay, let's pull this up. I'm surprised it didn't
I'm
cite.
looking for another part. I thought that was the part, but that was part of it. But
Bear me for a minute.
let me see. Let me see if it's here. Salakia. I put this video in the
Amorites
description
and,
box for those who want to watch it.
Canaanites. In other words, we're gonna take their land. So that's the promised land given to who? the Israelites, talking about the Israelites vocab.
Yeah.
It's so funny. They go to a line of reasoning and a book and a passage that is saying the opposite of what their main claim to their religion is. The thing is, it's difficult to explain this or talk to them out in the street situation. You got a guy banging on the
Yeah, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. Or you say you're trained to try to debunk what we're saying. And if we can't hear it, why keep coming around? Why do you keep coming around?
Yep.
You hope one day. That's the definition of insanity, man.
Yes, sir.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You think one day you're gonna roll up on GMS? They're gonna say, you know what, vocab, you're right. We're gonna join you. Where do we sign up?
not mere descent from Abraham. That's not what's sufficient.
What was the blessing that they gave to Ishmael? Read Genesis 17. What is the blessing that was given to Isaac? That they're going to be that great people, the descendant of Abraham, the stars of heaven. Can you count the stars of heaven? That's how they're going to be great. Genesis chapter 15, it speaks about the land that they're going to have from the river Egypt to the river, the great river Euphrates. All that land was a small hats are not in that land. Why do you think they're blowing up a lot of shit? You notice they haven't mentioned Hamas, but considered the elect. So it's not right in Israel. So the Most High before I
Shows that it's not just about physical descent.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? He chose him because of the spirit that's in him. If Jacob got with the Moabite, he had the four women, Rachel, direct descendants or are not sons of Jacob.
Romans 9. In fact, I wonder if you've ever read the entire chapter.
And called Gentiles in the Old Testament and in
It's
the
like
New
I know I'm jumping around, but I'm trying to find this one part.
So I'm just walking through this sometimes because when we do these, we laugh at some stuff, like a guy banging on the ground, like that proves the point. But I also want to bring out the way some of the verses are used because they think these are trump cards. That's what they think. Watchmen for Israel. You don't know how to read Romans 9. In fact, I wonder if you've ever read the entire chapter.
And you don't know the Bible, period, vocab. You're a complete clown. Yep. You're a complete clown. Why you think I said call cops on this guy? Because he's a pest. A pest. A pest.
I'm trying to find a part where he mentioned that, if you notice, is before the children did anything good or bad. I just trying to get to that point.
He's a pest dispenser.
Romans 9, or just a few verses.
Respond. You can respond. Good. So what you said a little earlier about Esau being king, we know that Cain's lineage is not. If Abraham, Genesis 3:15. Hold on. If Abraham came from the line,
there's no lineage between Esau. That you're saying something correct. Go to Agrippa.
Notice how when he's talking.
So we're going now to King Agrippa. You're right, and we know that King. I know you've heard it, but
Creepy Miguel. And by the way, vocab just uses you. He's not trying to get you to come back to Jesus. Give me a second.
Yeah, I can't.
Ultimately, it was 13. They come to learn. They got to listen. No, ain't no dialogue here. If you got something to say, if you want to have.
Go to a line of reasoning and a book and a passage that is saying the opposite of what their main claim to their religion is.
But he said something along the lines, I can't find it. I thought I had it. He said something along the lines of the children not being yet born or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And I'm trying to remember it because there's a point that I wanted to bring out. But nevertheless, he's talking about Romans 9 and let's see. Let's just go straight to the 10th verse. right? It says, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by her father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth, right? And I can't remember exactly how he said it, but I remember when he said it, the first thing that came to mind is, as you read further down, right, in the 19th verse, matter of fact, I started 18, therefore the mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. Thou wilt say then unto me, why did he yet find fault? Right. For who has resisted his will? So the Most High created Esau to be the devil, and he created Israel to be the righteous, to receive the promise. You know, then it says, nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? So you can't jump up and say, look, Lord, why you made me to be the wicked and you made them to be the righteous? That's not for you to decide. When a man that makes pottery, whatever he makes, he could take the clay, as it's going to explain, he could take a big piece of clay and part of it make a vessel that's glorious, and then another one make a vessel that's not so glorious, that is used for a toilet bowl or ashtray or whatever the case may be. All right. It says, shall the thing formed, which is you, Esau, say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Why did you make one the wicked, and why did you make one the righteous? That's none of your goddamn business. That's the Most High's plan. He set it up like that. He's the workman. He's the one that set it up that way. Hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? So that's what the Lord did. He made one vessel unto honor, which are the Israelites, and he made another vessel unto dishonor from the same lump of clay, so to speak, which is what? From the seed of Isaac. And that's heavy in itself. The seed of Isaac, he had twins come out. One of them was righteous and the other one was wicked. One of them was named Jacob, the other one was named Isaac. I'm sorry, one of them was named Jacob, the other one was named Esau. A slip of the tongue there. All right. So you can't say, why did the Lord do that? He had a purpose. This is his purpose. So Vocab is trying to, I forget, like I said, I just wish I could find that part, just, to be able to explain it a little better. But there was something that he said concerning, before the children were even born, that I can't seem to find. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me see. Let me go to my phone.
Line that Esau came from. So the only thing you're left with.
Yeah. And this video is pretty lengthy, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it. It's an hour 45 minutes long. But it was somewhere. Let me see.
Pasty people.
Language to a Jewish audience. And what Paul does, he says, I'm going to now give examples of Ishmael and Esau. And what he's showing is that ethnic descent does not guarantee covenant relationship. It's God's promise that guarantees covenant relationship.
Who was the promise given to? Matter of fact, let me do this. How many years? 10 years? However many years? More. So you're an expert. You know what an Edomite looks like.
Look, it's covering the majority of your head. So he's saying you're not supposed to have your head covered. Exactly what it would be. It's that's how we used to.
As Edomite, you got this old as a people group.
Damn.
About the chip, and is that
onto their bosom? See that?
There's a hole in the top. So his
Middle East during a certain time you had Israelites.
is a grand family. if you Israel's not on the scene. How about Abraham?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it. But nevertheless, the Most High created the devil, created Esau to be who he is before they were even born. You know, 49:12. Let me see. 49:12. Let me try. Let me see if I. Boy, oh boy. Salaki, let me check something. That thing just disappeared on me. Salakia, brothers. Salakia. Let me see if I go here, go to my. This ain't nothing but Satan, man.
He's making some good points. I've heard people make before.
I already know where he's going to go to. Agrippa. The Israelites are the people in the land of Israel, the Pacey people. The Edomites were done away with.
You know what's interesting is we look at Romans 9. We look at verse 7. And it says, nor because they are his descendants are they all Abraham's children. On the contrary, it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. In other words, it is not the children by physical descent who are God's children, but it is the...
Yeah, it's because Abraham had 8 sons, 8 seeds. Ishmael number 1, Isaac number 2,
That's
then the
part of
6th
it.
son through Keturah. Okay, that's what that's talking about.
It's
In other words, you can't say, "Well, I'm from the, you know, my line goes back to Abraham." Yeah, but what?
Sometimes I pull out my NIV, but this is what the verse means, and it literally says it's not because of physical descent. And the mere fact that you have twins, and one is chosen and one is not, that proves it's not the physical descent because they have the same physical descent. And it literally says that. And right before that in verse 6, it says that not all who are descended from Israel are Israel, which would be shocking language to a Jewish audience. And what Paul does, he says, I'm going to now give examples of Ishmael and Esau and what.
All right, no biggie. No biggie. Salaka for that. So back in Romans 9 and 21, have not the potter power of the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another vessel unto dishonor? That's Jacob and Esau. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, which are the Edomites? And that's why when Yahushua comes back, that's going to be the first people he's going to visit. Why? Because they are the ones that are in power today. You know? It says, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which are the Israelites, which he had afore prepared unto glory. And he said something along the lines that, you know, did you read the whole book of Romans 9? Man, you didn't even ever touch Romans 9 until you ran across the Israelites, you know? And you don't know the breakdown of Romans 9. Romans 9 destroys your whole argument. You know, that whole supersessionism and, you know, replacement theology. This chapter destroys all of that. Even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles, which are the Israelite foreigners. As he says also in OC, and this proves it. Because it says here, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. it sounds like, okay, well, he's talking about the other nations too, because it says Gentiles. So when you go here, it's as he says also in OC. Now, who is OC? For those of you that don't know, you know, OC is a prophet of the Old Testament. Hosea, the prophet Hosea. So in order to get the understanding of what they're saying here, right? Let's go back up. Let's read that verse. As he said also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people. Oh, see, that's talking about the other nations, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And that's what one of them wacky-tacky Christians try to pull out of the book of Hosea too, right? To try to prove that that's talking about the other nations. But when you go back to Hosea, the first chapter, and the 10th verse, see, when you go to, matter of fact, when you go to the 9th verse, right, it says, then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami. Matter of fact, I read 8. Now, when she had weaned Laruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami. Now, what does the name Lo Ami means? It's La'ah, I'm Yah. La'ah is no or not. I am his people. Yah at the end, if it's not connected, is not my people. Okay? Then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami, for you are not my people, and I will not be your power. Right? Because the Lord cast us off. That's why we became orphans. That's why when Yahushua came, he adopted us back by dying on the cross. That's why now we say Abba, Father, because now we are adopted back to the Father. Right? It says, yet the number of the who? Children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. Who? The Israelites. Ye are not my people. There shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living power. So when we go back to Romans, the 9th chapter, and the 25th verse, or 24th verse, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles, those are the Israelite foreigners that were not called the people of the Lord, that would eventually be called the people of the Lord. That's why the Apostle Paul came back and said, and as he said also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power. Why? Because they will be brought back to their remembrance. Because at one time, as it states in Ephesians, they were foreigners or strangers to the Commonwealth of Israel. The Commonwealth of Israel belongs to Israel. So why did they become foreign? Because they fell away. They became strangers. Okay? Matter of fact, let's go to that. Ephesians chapter 2. Because this is a scripture that these Christians think that helps them in their replacement theology, supersessionism, and they don't get it. No matter how many times we break it down, they don't get it. That's why we're not going to waste our time going back and forth with these demons. You know, we're going to hit the points, and that's that. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Yahushua was speaking to the majority of people in parables. He wasn't breaking things down to the average person. And the other thing is, Yahushua wasn't chasing down those wicked Pharisees and Sadducees and chasing down anyone that had a different doctrine. They were chasing him down, messing with him, bothering him, persecuting him and his disciples. These wacky-tacky Christians, we're not going to them. But everywhere you see brothers that they come mess with you. Now, the IUIC did go, do a blitz on them at one time, but we don't do that. They're the ones chasing us. We're not chasing them. Just like they were chasing the Messiah back then. Ephesians 2:11. Wherefore remember that you being in time past Gentiles in the flesh. You were. Matter of fact, let's get that. 1 Corinthians 12. Because a nation, the heathens, Gentiles, they're always Gentiles. So why did it say you were, past tense? Because you were in that Gentile state of mind. Now, when you renewed yourself by the renewing of your mind, now you came out of that Gentile state of mind. Now your heart that was darkened, your foolish heart that was darkened, is now brought back to the light by the gospel of Yahushua. So 1 Corinthians 12 and 2, you know that you were Gentiles. How? Carried away into these dumb idols, even as you were led. So from birth, you were taught, the ways of the heathen. You were taught the ways of the Greeks. You were taught to speak the Greek language. You were taught the Greek religion. You were taught the Greek customs, the Greek diet. That's why in Ephesians 2, it says that you were Gentiles, time past Gentiles in the flesh. You were born into that. You inherited that from your parents, who inherited from their parents, who inherited it all the way back to the ones that sold out, the Israelites that sold out, that no longer called themselves Jews, but called themselves Greeks, because it was against the law of the Greeks to call yourself a Jew, to keep the Sabbath, to circumcise yourself. This is something these devils don't want to deal with. They discard that. Because if you understand the history of the Hellenization of Israel, then you understand that, the Israelites, or in the New Testament, when it speaks about Gentiles or Greeks, oh, that's talking about the Israelites that went into those Greek customs. See? Right? So you Israelite foreigners that were born into those customs, who are called uncircumcision. What was it? Uncircumcision? Well, you guys are heathens. You're uncircumcised. You didn't circumcise. Your men didn't circumcise, or children didn't. Your sons didn't circumcise their penis. You don't keep the Sabbath. You're nothing but a bunch of heathens. By that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, which were the Jews or the Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, that kept the customs, that kept the feasts, so on and so forth, of the Lord. They looked down on those Israelite foreigners. That at that time you were without Yahushua, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Now the commonwealth of Israel is just that. It belongs to Israel. And you became an alien to the commonwealth. So they'll try to use this to say, well, see, that's talking about the heathens coming back and getting back to the commonwealth of Israel, because they didn't have it at one time. No. And as you read further down, it's going to explain it. Politeia, which is where you get the word polis, or where you get the word city. It says the administration of civil affairs, right? The way, the customs, the laws, statutes, commandments, the way things were governed in Israel. A state or commonwealth, citizenship, the right of a citizen, right? So you were an alien to the citizenship of Israel. Why? Because you were made uncircumcised, following, those the customs of the nations, specifically at this time the Greeks. You were following the Greeks, the Greeks. You were following their customs. That at that time you were without Yahushua, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers to the covenants of promise. When you research the covenants of the promise, they were only given to the Israelites. You can read it in Jeremiah 31:31 down, and you can read it in Hebrews chapter 8, verse 6 on down. The old covenant was with Israel. The new covenant is with Israel. The new covenant had to be made between the two, because the first covenant was made with the nation, and the second covenant was made with the nation, but the nation was split into two at one point, because you had the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. Okay. It says, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. And that's why your foolish heart became darkened, because you forgot about the Lord. You became past feeling. At one time, you might have had thoughts in your mind of, talking about, when you go back to when they first sold out underneath Antiochus, you might have had thought, and then, I broke this law. But after a while, that goes away, because you become numb to those feelings, because you're so engulfed in the Greek customs or the Hellenization that you forget about your own customs. It says, but now in Yahushua, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Yahushua. How did they become far off? Let's go to Daniel chapter 9. And verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, dealing with the Israelites, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near, that were in the land, and that are far off, where? Among the other nations, scattered through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespasses that they have trespassed against thee. And there's no difference with these Israelite foreigners that were being called Ephesians, which the Apostle Paul was addressing. But now in Yahushua, Ephesians 2:13. But now in Yahushua, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Yahushua, because you've been adopted back. So you had a certain portion of the elect that were among the Israelite foreigners that had to be brought back to the fold. That's what Romans 11 chapter is all about. And once that union came back together, all Israel shall be saved, because the same mercy that was extended to the Israelite foreigners to bring them back is going to be extended back to the regular Israelites that knew that they were Israelites that fell away, for them to come back. And that's why it says, and so all Israel shall be saved. For he is our peace, who have made both one. Right. Yahushua brought the union, that friendship back between the Heavenly Father and us, and hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances. Right. Because we received the law of grace, pretty much. For to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, because he is the Prince of Peace. But this is the point here, and that he might reconcile both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. So what does it mean to reconcile something? Let's look it up. Let me do that again. Reconcile. Restore friendly relations between, cause to coexist in harmony, make or show to be compatible. In other words, to bring back into the good graces of somebody, or bring back the friendship. Now, when you look up this word reconcile, which these devils don't like to do, the word reconcile is apokatalasso, to reconcile completely, to reconcile back again. What scripture says, go to the Old Testament, what scripture says that the nations had a part in this? It don't. Well, when you go to the law of the stranger, those strangers are Israelites. You have two types of strangers. You have the Israelite foreigners, which are the sojourners, and you have the regular heathen, strangers. Those heathen strangers you could sell bad meat to. You could lend upon usury. But to the Israelite strangers, you couldn't do that. The actual stranger, the actual heathens could not keep the Passover. But the Israelite foreigners, the sojourner strangers, if they circumcised their sons, then they could keep the Passover. You don't know the scriptures. You wasted all your money and time and effort in those demonic-ass colleges, and you got nothing. You didn't learn your debating skills until you started messing with the Israelites. Because you're nothing but a culture vulture. Talking about you, Vocab, you're a culture vulture. All you do is take from everybody. And that's why I believe you're an Amalekite. You're one of them small hats. And that's what they do. They go around stealing ideas, stealing things from people. You don't have a creative bone in your body. All you do is steal and take. Just like when your lousy rapping skills that you have none, you start rapping and then you start sounding like other rappers. Because you're hijacking or plagiarizing their style. Because you ain't got no style. So it says, bring back a former state of harmony. The Most High never had a former state of harmony with the nations, except for they were just heathens. The Lord said how he felt about them in the Old Testament, said that they were nothing but spittle, nothing but spit. P'tua. You don't think about that. You don't know about that. So you don't know the scriptures, Vocab. So to reconcile someone back, this is what the ministry of reconciliation is all about. When you go to the book of 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. So Ephesians 2:16, and that he might reconcile both, meaning the ones that knew that they were Israelites and the ones that didn't know that they were Israelites, that were in a Gentile state of mind, back together to the Most High, because they both fell away. At one time, the Lord he said, you know what, the hell with all of you. It said, in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off. You were among these other nations. And to them that were nigh, the ones that were in Jerusalem, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and the ones that were far away, which just totally forgot that they were Israelites. They were just in a bugged out state of mind. That's why the Apostle Paul said you had to be renewed in the spirit of your mind. You had to be retaught all over again. You had to be rebuilt. Let go of all of that heathenistic shit that you learned and learn your ways again. It says, for through him both have access by one spirit unto the Father. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints. Why? Because you are saints. Who are the saints? The Israelites. Your fellow citizens. Why? Because you were reconciled, brought back into the good graces or back into the friendship of the Most High. You fell out of favor with him. That's why you got caught up in that. The Lord said, man, they said, BK, let me see something. I believe that's in Leviticus 20, if I'm not mistaken. Right. This is a good one. Deuteronomy 7:16. And thou shalt consume all the people which the Lord thy power shall deliver thee. Thine eye shall not have pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto thee, a trap. And that's how you fell out of the good graces of the Most High. Exodus 23:33. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee, a trap. And that's why they were casted out. Judges 2:3. Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. And I believe that's also in Leviticus, the 20th chapter, where it speaks about that. Don't learn the manners of the nation, because if you do, the same way they got kicked, see what they're doing? This is the reason why they're getting kicked out the land. So don't do what they're doing, otherwise you're going to get kicked out the land. Just like they did. And that's what happened. We were among these heathens, among these nations. Okay. Back in Ephesians 2:18, for through him we both have access by one spirit unto the Father. Now therefore you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of the Most High, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua himself being the chief cornerstone. And this knowledge is only for the elect. Yahushua only died for the elect, for the Israelites. All right. And one thing they never ask is, why did the Messiah have to come on the scene? Why did he have to sacrifice himself? Well, when you go back to the original covenant, the agreement was if we broke any of the laws, we had to sacrifice the blood of certain animals to get back in the good graces of the Most High. After that, he got tired of it. So he sent his son Yahushua to reconcile us back to the Father by his blood. So it had to be a better sacrifice, which is Yahushua's blood, built upon better promises, the laws being put into our inward parts so that we wouldn't go off anymore. You see? And that's how we know we're not under the second covenant yet. Because if we were under the second covenant, we wouldn't die anymore. We would be changed. We're still in these mortal bodies. We're still in this corruptible flesh. This flesh still dies, gets sick, falls apart, gets tired. It says, Yahushua himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto a holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of the Most High through the Spirit. And that's dealing with the Israelite foreigners. All right. And this is what the Apostle Paul was doing, building them up, teaching them so that they can get out of that heathenistic mind state and get back into the good graces of the Heavenly Father. And that was through the doctrine of Yahushua, which is that one doctrine. So hey, it is what it is. These devils, they're gonna keep doing what they do. Let them do it. But as for me and my house, we're gonna, serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. We're gonna continue on, with what we've been teaching. Because you don't see them messing with anybody. Here it is, you got, P to the E to the D to the O's, all in the Roman Catholic Church, all in these different, so-called Christian churches, but they ain't saying nothing about it. You got all kind of homicides being committed by, these so-called Christians, and they don't talk about that. They want to try to make us look bad. But you simpletons, you keep listening to this demon Vocab and them other devils, and see how that is going to work out for you during the time of Jacob's trouble. Like as Apostle Tar said, the Lord has already turned the key, and the Lord is the door is slightly open, it's creaking, So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say Shalom.